Welcome everyone, my name is Ben Nelson with Velocity Fishing, and today I am bringing you my top 5 fishing hacks and techniques. These are designed to save you time and be more efficient on and off the water. So without any further ado, let's get started with number 5. So at number 5 we have something that fits in my hand, and that is a dental floss container. How you're going to start off with this is by first removing the actual spool from the inside, and what you're left with is just the actual container itself. It seems like I go through this all the time, but I will be tying a hook and I will finally have it ready to go, wrapped around my main line, and then I need to get some pressure to cinch it down. And when I'm finally cinching this down, something will slip and the hook just immediately goes into my finger. So we are going to be able to eliminate that now that the spool is removed. And every single one of these, there's a little notch right here, and your hook will fit into that notch. So you can put it in, close the lid, and what that gives you is a safe environment to tie your hook, putting your line through the guide, and then cutting it on this tool without having to worry about getting poked and then bleeding. So for that reason, this comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have a zip tie and a split ring. This is going to allow you to add a hook holder on your rod if you don't have one already. Even if you do though, you may not like the position, and you can always add another with this simple technique. Here's an old bait casting rod that we have, and that has no hook keeper on it. It has some foam here where you can actually insert, I'm sure you guys have all seen this on maybe your first rods or whatever, where you can insert the hook, but that ruins this over time and it doesn't look too good. So we can fix that with the split ring by putting it where we want. Let's say put it about here, and then we'll take our zip tie, thread it through, and this takes a little bit of maneuvering. You can just put this in first. Once you have this in the desired area, you can go ahead and fully cinch it down. So now that's not going anywhere, and then take your scissors and just snip this off. And now you have a fully functional hook holder. Coming in at number 3 of our fishing hacks is a nail. Depending on the size of your bait, you would size your nail accordingly. For a small Senko, you could use a small nail like this. For a bigger one or a worm, you could obviously go up in size. The idea of this is, let's say you don't have any weights and you're going bass fishing, bring some nails along. They will do just as well to getting your bait down. You can also use them to vary the presentation of your bait. For example, a Senko, which just slowly flutters down to the bottom flat. But if you put a nail in the bottom, which we'll demonstrate in a second, it will go straight down, allowing it to sink faster, so you can actually fish water a lot faster. I know one problem I always have with a Senko when I'm fishing it is that in deep water I feel like I'm fishing really slow and I'm not covering it quick enough. So this will solve a lot of your problems, getting it down quicker, and it'll still have the same action when it's coming up. You can also, let's say you have this Senko Texas rigged, you can place the nail at the head or the tail, and that will completely alter your presentation as well. So for all those reasons listed, you absolutely should be carrying some nails in your tackle box. Now let's say you have your Senko Texas rigged. You can take the Senko, and let's say you don't have any weights hypothetically. You can take the nail and you can put it into the head and push it down, and you now have a weighted Senko, which will now get to the bottom easier. Alright, so now you have the same Senko, and this time you want to rig it wacky style. It's still got the weight in the bottom, and what that's going to allow you to do when you rig it wacky is it'll still have the same nice wobble that we all know a Senko to have, but when it sinks, since it has the nail on this side, it's going to sink at a slight angle and much faster, and that'll allow you to fish deeper water way more efficiently and quickly. This is the first Senko without the weight, and you can see that it's descending like it normally would, and when we add the weight, you will instantly see the difference. At number 2, we have a product that is probably sitting in your house right now and you just haven't thought about it for this purpose. So whenever I go fishing or I get bait on my hands, I always come home and I have that nasty smell on my fingers and my palms. And no matter how many times I wash it, put soap on it, I can't get the smell off. So our solution for that at number 2 is none other than Windex. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to spray it all over your hands and you're going to rub it on there really good and let it dry for about 30 seconds to a minute. Doesn't really matter as long as you let it dry. And then you're going to take a washcloth, rub it all off really good, and then wash your hands off. And the smell will be completely gone. If you don't want to put this chemical, even though it's safe, on your hands, I completely understand that. You can also get any type of stainless steel brush that you may use in the kitchen to scrub things and use that to scrub your hands, and that should also get rid of most of the scent. And finally, at number 1, we have a toothpick. Now, what kind of problems are these going to solve? Well, one thing that I run into all the time when I'm fishing a soft plastic, especially on a Texas rig or any sort of offset worm hook, is that the soft plastic will actually run down the hook all the time whether I get a bite, and that might cause the top of it to break, the fish to seal my, in this case, Senko, and we can fix that just with this. Simple, cheap, and effective. This is going to allow you to fish more efficiently. To stop your baits from slipping off your worm hooks, we are first going to thread the hook through it, but a little bit deeper than you normally would. So about that works. And then we'll thread that through. Turn it around. Rig up the worm. So remembering where the eyelet actually is, we're going to place the toothpick through the eye, which it now is, and then we're going to simply snap it. So now we're going to take some scissors and snip off the end here, push it back in, and what this does is it stops your bait from being able to be pulled off. And that wraps up our top 5 fishing hacks. If you enjoyed the video at any point in time, feel free to give it a like. And if you found any of these hacks useful or practical in your day-to-day fishing adventures, make sure to hit subscribe. I've got a lot of great content to come. And if you have any future suggestions for video topics or ideas, make sure to drop those in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.